Breaking Free: The Legacy of John Adams, a Rebel in a Dystopian World. John Adams had always been a man of routine, waking up every morning at precisely 6:30 a.m., taking his mandatory government-approved multivitamins, and dressing in his mandated attire. He followed the government's rules without question, believing that they were necessary to maintain peace in a world that had been ravaged by war and environmental disasters. But as he approached his 30th birthday, John began to notice strange inconsistencies in the world around him. The news reports would contradict each other, and he would hear rumors of people disappearing without explanation. He tried to ignore these things, dismissing them as nothing more than paranoia or conspiracy theories. But as the weeks went by, John's curiosity began to get the better of him. He started to question the world around him, wondering if the government was telling the truth about everything. He began to research forbidden books and speak to people who had been labeled as dissidents. His eyes were opened to a world beyond what he had known, a world of corruption and lies. As he delved deeper into the secrets and lies of the ruling party, John began to feel a sense of purpose he had never experienced before. He realized that he could no longer live his life blindly following orders. He had to take action and make a change. One day, John found himself in a secret meeting with other dissidents. They spoke of a plan to overthrow the government, to take back control and bring about a new era of freedom and democracy. John felt a surge of hope and excitement within him. He had never felt so alive. But as he left the meeting, he was ambushed by government agents. They dragged him to a hidden location, where they interrogated him relentlessly. They wanted to know everything he knew about the dissidents and their plans. John tried to stay strong, but the torture and threats were too much for him to bear. He broke down and revealed everything he knew. The agents released him, warning him never to speak of the dissidents again. John was crushed by the weight of his guilt. He had betrayed the people who had welcomed him into their circle, who had given him hope for a better future. He felt like a failure, like he had let down not just himself, but the entire cause. For days, John wrestled with his inner demons. He questioned everything he believed in, wondering if the fight for freedom was worth the cost. But eventually, he realized that he could not give up. He had to keep fighting, even if it meant risking his life. John began to plan a new strategy, one that would not involve violence or overthrowing the government. He decided to use his knowledge and resources to spread the truth about the government's lies and corruption. He started a secret blog, writing about his experiences and exposing the government's secrets to the world. For months, John wrote tirelessly, pouring his heart and soul into every word. He knew that he was risking everything, but he also knew that he could not stay silent. He had to speak out, even if it meant putting his life on the line. Eventually, John's blog began to gain a following. People from all over the world read his words and were inspired by them. John knew that he had accomplished something meaningful, something that would live on long after he was gone. Years later, when the government finally fell, John Adams was remembered as a hero, a symbol of the fight for freedom and individualism. His story was told and retold, inspiring generations to come to stand up against oppression and fight for a better world. And though John was long gone, his legacy lived on, a testament to the power of one person's determination and courage. John's blog posts were eventually preserved in a special archive, where they were used as a guide for drafting a new constitution for humanity. His words became the foundation for a new era of freedom and democracy, a world where people were free to think and act for themselves, and where the government worked for the people, not against them. And though John was long gone, his legacy lived on. He had shown that even in a world where the government had absolute control, there was still hope for change. He had proven that individual thought and action could make a difference, even in the face of overwhelming odds. John's words would live on for generations to come, a testament to the power of one person's determination and courage. And though he may not have lived to see the world he fought for, his spirit would live on, inspiring others to stand up against oppression and fight for a better future.